Sugar Bear and Lamali, okay, we mentioned that we have a special guest that's going to check in with us about something that I think both of us are excited about.
Yeah.
We are on the phone with John Zoller. He is the producer for the exhibition hub of the Titanic Immersive Voyage. Thanks for checking in, John. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Sugar Bear, Lamali. Nice talking to you about Titanic and Immersive Voyage.
Okay, where do we begin? Because I have to say this. I feel like I was on that boat. I don't know. In another lifetime, John, I had to have been there because I'm so interested in everything about the Titanic. So let's talk about the Immersive Voyage. What can people expect and what exactly is it?
So in the same way that you have that feeling that you were on the ship, when you go to Titanic and Immersive Voyage, you will have that feeling again. Wow. So you were on that ship in a previous life. It's all going to come back to you because Titanic and Immersive Voyage really is what it says it is. It places you on the ship in the footsteps of those passengers. You go through the entire life cycle of the ship from her creation to her celebrated day of departure to the glories and the luxuries at sea to that fateful encounter with the iceberg, all the way up to meeting the rescue ship Carpathia, and then in the end, through virtual reality, being able to dive to the wreck site to see the Titanic again.
Oh, my goodness.
That's so cool. Wait, okay, so do we get hit by the iceberg?
So you're in the crow's nest, and you're trying to spot the iceberg before it's too late as part of the experience. And I don't want to give it away, but so far nobody's been able to see the iceberg before it's too late.
Wow, that's interesting because you keep thinking, like, how did they miss an iceberg? But I guess you get the literal bird's eye view of that.
Well, we talk about it at expo-titanic.com, and we also talk about it in the experience. There was actually a haze that had built up over the horizon line. So the lookouts were actually looking beyond the horizon, and that iceberg was hidden in the haze. So it literally appeared out of nowhere when they were less than 90 seconds away from impact with it.
Oh my gosh.
And the rudder on the ship was too small to make that turn in time, and they almost missed it just, by inches. But that side impact with the ship punctured 6 locations along the side of the ship that pierced those watertight compartments that were meant to make Titanic unsinkable. If only 5 had been punctured, they would have been okay. But with that 6th one being punctured, it was a certain mathematical certainty that Titanic was going to sink.
Wow, that is so interesting. Again, I cannot wait to experience this because it seems like it is an experience to be immersed in this environment, just to feel like that. So from a personal standpoint, John, what interest did you have in this for you to be, the producer or, what interest did you have in it that made you really want to be a part of this? Were you there in another lifetime? I mean, what's your personal connection?
I mean, I may have been. I mean, I read a long time ago, I read Walter Lord's groundbreaking book called A Night to Remember. And that really takes you through the entire story of that, from the moment of the impact with the iceberg to the rescue with Carpathia. And that always stayed with me. And then I had an opportunity about 25 years ago to create a Titanic exhibition. And from that time forward, I've pretty much every few years created a new version of a Titanic exhibition.
Wow.
And I will tell you, of all those exhibits that I've created, the one here in Denver, Titanic and Immersive Voyage at 3900 Elati Street, it's the best one I've ever been a part of. It has all that emotion. It has all that great storytelling. But then we use technology in these ways where you literally are standing on the bridge watching the ice wall.
Oh, my gosh.
You're in the crow's nest like we talked about. You're in the boiler room when the iceberg breaches the hull and the water starts pouring in. And you're in a lifeboat watching Titanic from a distance, sending out her final words, her wireless messages, with a feeling of complete helplessness. There's nothing you can do. And that's exactly how those passengers felt on that fateful night of April 14th, 1912.
That's amazing. So how did you guys go about recreating things like the grand staircase, the resting hall, all of these iconic elements that people know so well from the movie and all that?
So we studied the original builder's plans, and we rebuilt these set pieces in the exhibit one-to-one as to what they were on the ship based on the builder's plan. So when you're looking, there's a section where you board the Titanic. You're looking at a section of the ship's hull, and it's the rivet patterns and the steel plates. They match up exactly to those builder's patterns. The grand staircase is laid out exactly as it would have been laid out on the ship.
Wow.
The first-class dining room, you see it go on forever, just like it did on the ship. The bridge is a one-to-one recreation. The crow's nest, even the lifeboat you sit in the immersive room, is a one-to-one recreation. So you're as close to the story as you can really get. Plus, we give you a boarding pass, so you become a passenger on board the ship. You're connected to something, an actual passenger who was on board the ship as you're going through the experience.
That's amazing. We're going to have to go dressed in our best Molly Brown.
Yeah, in our best outfits, yes.
And Molly Brown is featured very, very strongly in this experience. We have a partnership with the Molly Brown House that's only about 15 minutes away from our venue at 3900 Elati Street. And we have a beautiful display of about a dozen of her artifacts in the memorial gallery. And we're able to really highlight her story and how important she was, not only to helping people keep their spirits up and stay alive during the night of the sinking, but also all the work she did afterwards with that newfound unsinkable Molly Brown fame that she brought back to Denver.
That's right. And we've actually had a tie-in with that. We've been given some passes for that Molly Brown house so they can come check that out with us. And also for this as well. We're excited about this. There's one last thing I have to ask, John. What are some of the stories, some of the feedback you've gotten from people who have experienced this? What are some of the things that you're saying that kind of move you and make you feel like I'm doing the right thing? This is amazing.
So Titanic and Immersive Voyage really does create that emotional connection with passengers. And at the end of the experience, we have an area where people can leave their own personal Marconigram to the exhibit or to the passenger that they were connected with through the boarding pass. And we've seen incredible messages written by guests of the experience. So we have kids who are drawing these beautiful illustrations of the ship or sections of the ship. We have families talking about how it inspired them to have these really deep conversations about moral choices and ethical choices. Wow. We have lifelong Titanic enthusiasts who said, I've always dreamed of being on Titanic, and now I can say I was on it.
Oh, wow.
And there was one I saw the other day that really got me, and it was like a haiku almost. Oh, in this world, to be the Carpathia and not the iceberg. So, to be the rescue ship instead of the agent of disaster. And that was really struck me. It, gives me chills saying it right now.
Yeah. I really feel moved by this. I seriously don't know. I've always had some type of connection to it. I believe in past lives and, living and being there before. I believe I was there. I really do.
I think we were there together. We
could have been, man. I mean, with Molly Brown telling us to don't worry about it, it's going to be okay, whatever it is. I cannot wait to be a part of this. Titanic and Immersive Voyage is happening at Exhibition Hub Art Center, right? We just said 3900 Elati Street, correct?
That's right. 3900 Elati Street, open every day except for Tuesday. And you can go to expo-titanic.com to get more info and to get your tickets.
Wow. John Zoller, thank you for your time. You're doing a great service to people who love history, and I can't wait to immerse myself into this experience.
Yep, me too.
Thank you, Sugar Bear. Thank you, Lamali. Really appreciate it.